Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is your favorite show, that's Daily Calls, a show that answers all your stock related queries on the program. Of course, two market experts will be joining in on the show to help you out with your strategies on the stocks that you hold in your portfolio and onto your watch list as well. So in case you're here for the first time, WhatsApp number is flashing on your screens. That's where you send me all your questions along with your name, location and your contact details as well. You can also log on to our YouTube channel, go on to Business Today, then go to the Daily Calls Live and use the comment section there to send me all the questions that you have, and I'll be happy to address all of that also for all of you. Let me quickly also look at look how the markets are trading at halftime. Remember, we opened on a positive note today and the Nifty has now slipped slightly below the flat line, 24,646. So we have seen extreme amount of volatility that continues to impact the sentiments even today. 1.5% higher for the India Wix at 11.5. Lot of sectors that have come under pressure are again the heavyweights like IT, Nifty Bank, financial services, also autos and FMCG from the consumer durable space as well. We have some names that have slipped into the red, but half of the market breadth is still on the positive side. What are the names that are hovering higher? You have IndusInd Bank after positive brokerage houses reports, 2% higher today. BEL 1.7% up. Order flows news coming in positive. Titan, Eternal, Hindalco as among those stocks that are still holding up in strong moves as far as the market is concerned. Let's actually now welcome our guest on board. We have in fact two guests joining in. Mr. Osho Krishnan, Senior Research Analyst, Technicals and Derivatives at Angel One is with us. And we're also joined by Nilesh Jain, Head and Vice President of Technicals and Derivatives Research at Centrum, also joining in to share with us their views on the markets and to address all your queries. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and good afternoon. Let me take a view from both of you one by one on the markets. Nilesh, starting off with you, your sense on the current setup in the markets. You know, we are sitting on the back of those 6 days of painful trade in the markets, and we did have a positive move today, but again we have heightened volatility that we are witnessing right ahead of the expiry again tomorrow. What is your sense on the markets as of now?
Very good afternoon, Sakshi. Good afternoon, everyone. Absolutely. So, after 7 days of consecutive decline, today, in fact, there was an attempt. In fact, 6 days of consecutive decline. Today, there was an attempt of a strong pullback. We did see a good opening, but soon after that, that move has fizzled out so far. In this week, we have monthly event expiry for the Nifty and Bank Nifty. So, we are expecting market to remain volatile. At the same time, the call writers are very much active at 24,800, so that's kind of acting as a study wall. It is going to be very difficult to break that particular barrier. If at all it breaks 24,800, then there could be possibility of a short covering move towards 24,900 to 25,000. But for that, we need to wait for a breakout above 24,800. At the same time, on the lower side, 24,500 is acting as a very strong psychological support. So the momentum indicators and oscillators have already turned on a negative side. If at all we see any pullback, there are high possibility of this pullback to get sold into. So markets are not looking that promising as of now. We may see some bit of a time-wise correction to continue. It is better to focus on stock-specific action in this kind of volatile market.
Okay, got that. What about you, Osho? How are you looking at the opportunities that present themselves? Is it getting difficult to select certain stocks and sectors to be with because of this volatility? What exactly is your approach in the markets right now?
Very good afternoon, Sakshi, and very good afternoon, Nilesh. See, overall, I am having the same kind of a view that the market is into a kind of a bearish outlook. Today's attempt of reaching the highs of nearly 24,750 has again failed and market has corrected down. So I expect that any lows towards the zone of 24,500 should be augured well for the buyers, because we have seen a tremendous sell-off from the zone of nearly 25,500, and from there onwards it has been a single side correction. So there might be some kind of breather that we can witness in the coming period, but conviction will come only once the market breaches the zone of 24,800, which even coincides with the sloping trend line, which we have seen a kind of a breakout. Now the same sloping trend line is acting as a very strong resistance. So 24,800 is a very strong hurdle. Once we break through above 24,800, then only we can see some kind of bullish traction coming back into the market. Till that time, better to wait for some further correction towards 24,500, and from there onwards one can look for some buying opportunity for the targets of 24,800 for a short-term point of view.
Fair point. Let's now start taking some of our viewers' questions with both of you, Nilesh and Osho. Our first question is from Aarti Jain. She says, "Hi Nilesh sir, can I make a fresh entry in Edelweiss Financial Services? What would your advice be onto this stock?" She hasn't given us a sense of what is the time duration for which she wants to enter into this stock for. But if you could give an overall outlook on this stock from the capital market space.
If you see Edelweiss Finance, recently we saw the stock face resistance at 121, 122 zone, and that is acting as a very strong barrier for this particular account. At the same time, on the lower side, we have multiple support at 102. That's the very important support of long-term 200-day moving average. So ideally, at present, I won't advise taking any contra bet because the trend is looking on a weaker side. We may see stock moving towards 105 to 102 going forward, and it may test the levels of 102 since that's the 200 long-term moving average. So if at all you see those levels, then probably you can take a contra bet keeping tight stop loss below 96 because the risk and reward will turn favorable if stocks correct to 102 levels. But as of now, at present, it's an avoid.
It's an avoid. Let's take the next question. This one is also from the similar space. This is Ankur Modi. I'm bringing this question to you, Osho. The question is that could you please suggest me any capital markets related stocks like BSE, CDSL? Which ones are you positive on at the current levels? If I have a 3 years time horizon, which one should I invest in?
See, overall, there is a strong scope in the capital market stocks from a longer time horizon. And looking at the overall setup, that majority of the counters have seen a kind of a consolidation in the recent period. So counters like CDSL, NSDL, both are looking very promising at current levels, although there can be some kind of further consolidation or some times of sideways correction that can be seen in the counter in the very short term perspective. But from a longer term duration, one can definitely look at CDSL and NSDL. Both the counters are looking very promising at current levels and can witness a very strong returns over a period of 3 years in the coming period.
Okay, fair point. Let's go on to taking the next question. This one is from one of our viewers that we have on our YouTube again. This is Praveena, and she says, I want to ask you about Acme Solar. Any fresh entry levels that you can suggest with a target and stop loss? Can you take that, Nilesh? Acme Solar, a target and a stop loss that our viewer wants to know from you. Today the stock is up by 3% odd.
See, in last few trading session, in fact, almost 7-8 consecutive session, we have seen a formation of a lower bottom and lower bottom. Today being a first day of reversal, I would, rather wait for a confirmation of a decisive reversal, which seems to be missing as of now. But if somebody is taking any contra bet at current level, then one should keep a strict stop loss at 262. So if it breaks below 262, then the high possibility of stock dragging further towards 240 as well. So 262 should be the strict stop loss. And if you see any pullback towards 285 to 290, that can be a good point where one can exit if bought it from a trading perspective. If somebody is looking to make a entry from a positional perspective, then one can stay put keeping a stop loss below 262.
Okay, fair point. We have the next question coming in from Bhaskar. Osho, he wants to know about PG Electroplast. At the present levels, he wants to enter with a time horizon of 1 to 2 years. Now, we do know that this stock in the recent times had some volatile moves as well, especially after the company's management reduced their forecast for revenues and profits. But the stock has been finding its feet above the water of late. Your sense of how to look at PG Electroplast at the current levels?
See, overall, there has been a strong correction from the zone of nearly 800 and now it's hovering around 500 odd levels. But the technical parameters have also turned quite bearish in the counter. So I expect that until we see a kind of a consolidation breakthrough on a higher end, till that time better to stay sidelines. On the lower end, the immediate support is placed approximately around the zone of 475 to 480. If it breaches below 475, then we can see a further correction towards 450 to 445 in a very short term perspective. So better to stay sidelines. The counter is hovering below all the short-term moving average. So better to stay sidelines. Only if it breaches the zone of 580 on the higher end, then one can look for buying opportunity. Till that time, better to avoid the counter.
Okay, fair point. Next, take another question. This one is from one of our other viewers. Okay, so this question is coming in from Avdish Thakur. He wants to know about Piramal Pharma, a fresh entry at the current levels for long-term perspective. Could you take that one, Nilesh? Piramal Pharma, how are you looking at it? And any suggestion for the long term?
Well, Sakshi, if somebody is looking for a longer term, then you have better options than PPL Pharma because the structure is not looking that great. But yes, given a time frame of let's say 2 to 3 year or 4 year plus kind of time frame, then there could be possibility of decent CAGR return can be expected in this particular counter as well. But immediate trend looks sideways. We are currently witnessing price wise as well as time wise correction. It has a very strong support somewhere around 160. So ideally, if somebody is looking to make a fresh investment, then buy on decline should be the strategy, or buy in a staggered manner. That could be a better strategy in this particular counter. And 220 is the important level, I would say important resistance for this particular stock. If it breaks 220, then upside will open up for 280 to 300. So from a very longer term perspective, one can look for this particular counter, but keep a stop loss at 160.
Okay, let's take the next one then. We have one more question that's coming in. Okay, this one is from Raju Tiwari. He says, hi, good afternoon. Can you please review NACL Industries and let me know what levels should I be really looking at? I'm looking to invest for the long term, a 2 to 3 year kind of a horizon. What is your suggestion? NACL Industries apparently for the last 1 month has been in a downward trend. In fact, it's lost about 24% in trade. Although the last 6 months trend will show you that the stock has had also movements of positive moves as well, and the stock had rallied about 80% odd. But from around say August, the stock has been in a downward trajectory. The volumes have also been low. Your suggestion, Osho, on how to look at NACL Industries?
See, overall, the counter have seen a kind of a decent rally or a very strong rally in the recent period. But again, after hitting the highs of 340, the counter is into a corrective phase. And there is a high possibility that it might test the consolidation zone of 180, 170 in the short term period. So better to wait for those levels to get tested. If we see some kind of consolidation around those levels, because even that coincides with the long term moving average, then we can look for some buying opportunity in the counter. Overall, it is a very volatile counter with a kind of a very low volume also that can be seen on a daily time frame chart. So better to wait for the correction period to get over and then only can look for buying opportunity in the counter. Currently 180 to 175 is visible on the downside for the counter.
Okay, got that. Let's take another question. This one is also from one of our viewers, Avdesh, who wants to know from you, Nilesh. Bank of Maharashtra, how are you looking at this stock? Now, PSU banks have started to gain some momentum over the last couple of weeks. How are you looking at Bank of Maharashtra? This used to be one of the erstwhile favorites of retail investors when the entire theme of PSU banks was in an uptrend. What's new, fresh onto this one?
Absolutely. So recently we have seen a good momentum across all PSU banks. In fact, Maharashtra Bank also witnessed a good momentum, but the momentum got fizzled out at near about 58 levels. That is acting as a very strong resistance zone. Multiple tops can be seen in the zone of 58 to 59. So at present, since we have already seen some bit of profit taking, the risk and reward has again turned positive. And if somebody is looking to make a fresh entry at present level, then keep a stop loss below 51, because 51 recently we saw the stock has tested the important support of 200-day long-term moving average. So that should be the stop loss, and we may see a rebound towards 58, 59. So a breakout above 58.5 precisely, then probably we can expect a strong move towards 65 to 70 as well. So stay put is the advice in this particular stock.
Okay, got that. Let's also look at some of the other questions that are coming in. Let's take some questions from our WhatsApp also. A lot of people are actually joining in there too. Akhil from Kerala says, can you please help me with Kalyan Jewelers? The stock price has been declining. What is this led by, and what would your advice be on Kalyan Jewelers going forward from here? Osho, would you be able to take that?
Yes, overall, I see technically what can be seen in the counter, that the counter is not being able to sustain on the higher levels. The long-term moving average has been acted as a very strong resistance for the counter. and on in the short term period there is a possibility for retesting the support zone of 400 in the short term period. So overall the trend is somewhere on the weaker side, and until it breaches the zone of from a longer term duration, until it breaches the zone of its 200 day simple moving average, better to stay sidelines from the counter. The major concern with the corporate governments in the counter, and even the technicals parameters are not very much aligned on the positive front. So better to stay sidelines. Only once it breaches the zone of 520, 540, then one can look for buying opportunity. Till that time, better to avoid.
Okay, got that. Let's take the next one. This one is also from one of our other viewers. This is Swati from Jalandhar. Wants to know about JSW Infra. Nilesh, if you could take that. She has a position here at the price of 305 and wants to know, can I continue to add more, and then at what level also would you advise?
Well, the major structure is looking positive, although we have seen a kind of a triple top pattern somewhere around 350. So that is acting as a very strong kind of a barrier for this particular stock. But the major structure is hinting that if at all you see any dip towards 310, 300, that can be a good entry point in this particular counter, keeping a stop loss below 285. The long-term structure looks positive, but one should have a time horizon of 3 to 6 months. Then probably one can look to add this particular stock for 340 from a very short term perspective, and positionally 380, 400 kind of levels can also be seen.
Okay, got that. Let's also take another one. This one is from one of our other viewers. This is Naveen from Bengaluru. Osho wants to know about Petronet LNG. A fresh buying level is what is looking out for, especially with the long term horizon. What would your advice be?
See, the counter is at a very strong support levels. The zone of nearly 270 has been seen as a very strong support in the counter. Multiple times it has tested the zone, and from there onwards we have seen some kind of bounce in the counter. So from short term point of view, yes, we can witness some kind of resurgence towards the zone of 300, but 300 again being a very crucial resistance. Only if it breaches the zone of 300, which even coincides with the 200 day simple moving average, then only we can see the bullish traction coming back in the counter. For short term perspective, yes, one can surely accumulate the counter at current levels with 260 as a stop loss, and 300 should be seen as the immediate target. And if it breaches, then from there onwards we can see a trend change in the counter.
Okay. Let's take another one then. We have this question coming in from one of our other viewers on our WhatsApp as well. Okay. This one is Tanmay from Ahmedabad. Tanmay wants to know from you, Nilesh, as far as MTAR Technologies is concerned. Already bought at the rate of 1775 and wants to know what is the outlook on this stock going forward from here. What would you be able to advise, and whether he should continue to hold on?
Absolutely, Sakshi. So a very good breakout was seen at the levels of 1800. His entry price is very good at 1700. So I would suggest to stay put in this particular stock, because the recent breakout has given a confirmation that the stock is likely to test the levels of 2100. So that's the kind of levels one can expect in the very short to medium term time frame. Ideally, we should tail the stop loss to 1800. That's the breakout zone that we saw earlier. That should be the stop loss, and on the upside, immediate target comes around 2025, and positional target could be somewhere around 2100 to 2150.
Okay, fair point. I hope this has also truly helped you out. Next is Nagesh Godri from Karnataka. Warm welcome to you, Nagesh ji. Seeing your question for the first time. The question that Osho he has is, which is the best stock to buy in semiconductor sector? I am a long-term investor. I can hold for 5 years plus. What would you advise? Well, good question there, Nagesh. In fact, we have been seeing, Osho, how the semiconductor buzz has only increased, especially with the last few weeks also having seen Prime Minister Narendra Modi also announcing the semicon as well. We've seen how India is focused on making chips in India, and therefore there are a lot of companies that are already in focus. How are you going to advise?
See, overall there is a strong buzz in the whole space, and I expect that there might be many companies which already have seen a decent traction in the coming period, in the recent period. So the first company which is looking very positive on the technical front is CG Power. I expect the counter can see some kind of continued momentum on the higher end. Near about, we have seen a rally from the zone of 680 towards the zone of 800, and now it is into a cooling off phase. So if any dip comes towards the zone of 700, 720, one can look for buying opportunity in the counter. On the higher end, I expect a target, short-term target to be 800 to 820. If it breaches 820, then from there onwards, we can even see further movement towards 900 odd levels.
Okay. Nilesh, we have the next question for you. This one is from Ashwin from Bengaluru. Says, hi Sakshi, wishing you, your family and everybody in business today also a very happy Dussehra week. Thank you so much, Ashwin, for your warm wishes. We extend the wishes back to you and to your loved ones as well, and hope you have a fantastic festive season ahead. The question that Ashwin has, Nilesh, for you is on Nucleus Software. He holds about 200 shares in this stock, priced at 1435. Wants to know if he can average at the current levels. Actually, he can hold for next 1 year. So what would you be advising him, since he's already holding since last 1 year plus into this stock?
Just give me a moment. Nucleus Software.
That's right.
Right.
Bought at 1435, 200 shares there.
Okay, it is currently trading at 1000 rupees, and
Yes.
if you see the recent trend in this particular stock, which has been on a lower side, so the stock is constantly forming a lower top and lower bottom formation. So structure wise is looking weak. There could be possibility of some bit of a pullback move towards 1020 to 1040. But if purely got it from a trading perspective, then keep a stop loss at 970. And if you see any pullback towards 1040, 1060, that could be a good level to book out your profit. And if bought it purely from a longer term perspective, then one can expect the levels of 1150, 1180. That was the recent high that we saw on 18th of May. So that level might be tested, but for that one needs to wait for some longer term time frame. But immediate basis, one should keep a stop loss at 970.
Okay, fair point. Let's take the next question. This one is from Mayank. Osho, this one is for you. The question is, I have Havells shares in my portfolio at 1690 levels and Idea Ford shares at 703. My view is long term, but I want to know, should I average them at the current levels or should I sell them at losses that I am facing on both these stocks? Havells bought at 1690 and Idea Forge bought at 703. What would you advise?
See, firstly for Havells, I expect the counter is into a consolidation zone, but looking at the broader time frame, it is hovering just above the breakout that we have seen in the month of February 2024, from where we have seen the uptrend to get started. So I expect that any dip towards the zone of 1450 to 1440 will be augured well by the buyers, and one should stay put with their long positions. On the higher end, it will be advisable to start accumulating or adding more counters or adding more numbers in the stocks once it surpasses the zone of 1580 from a longer term duration. On a longer term, I expect a decent rally in the counter, and one should stay put with the investments. The immediate target comes around the zone of 1900 to 1950 from a time horizon of nearly 9 months to 1 year. So one should stay invested. There is no harm waiting for the counter to have a kind of a reversal in the short term period. Now coming to Idea Forge, this counter has again seen some kind of momentum in the recent period, but looking at the recent traction that we have seen, recent profit booking that we have seen from the zone of nearly 540, there is a possibility for it to dip towards the zone of 460. Once it reaches the zone of 460, then we might be a concerning factor. So it will be advisable to keep a stop loss of 460. If it breaches the zone of 540 on the higher end on a closing basis, then we can see continuation on the higher end. But for now, 460 should be kept as a strong stop.
Okay, got that. Let's also look at one more question that's coming in from YouTube. This one is from Muthailu James. Nilesh, taking this one with you. The question is that I need to know whether I can make a fresh entry in GRSE, Garden Reach Shipbuilders, and what level should I look at a fresh entry? I need a long term horizon, maybe a 1 year horizon is what he's asking now. What would you advise? In the recent past, we've seen a lot of announcements on schemes that government has also launched for the shipbuilding industry, and the space has been in focus of late too. What would you advise?
Right. So recently, we did see some momentum across all defense space, but once again, we have seen some bit of profit taking in this particular space. Even GRSE, if you see the major structure, is looking more sort of a sideways now. There could be possibility that stock may test the levels of 2300 to 2250 on the lower side. So, in terms of making a fresh entry, I would advise to wait for some bit of correction to continue towards the levels of 23, 2200. That can be a good entry point. At present level, is not advisable to buy the falling knife because the stock is in a corrective phase. So better either wait for a correction or buy in a staggered manner. That should be the strategy. And on the upside, from a positional perspective, the stock has a potential to test 3300 to 3500 in next 1.5 year time frame.
Okay, fair point. I hope this has truly helped you out. Let's take another one. Osho, taking this one with you. Jay says it's a very useful show for us. So thank you so much, Business Today team. Thank you so much, Jay, for appreciation. The question that he has is, I want to know whether between two hotel stocks, which one should I choose? ITC Hotels or Lemon Tree Hotels? Which one would you prefer and why?
See, firstly, both the counters are looking positive to me because both of them are into a decent secular upward rally. Lemon Tree first because it is having a higher technical development, so I can say that for the counter Lemon Tree near about it has given a breakout near around the zone of 155, and now it is even coinciding or even correcting towards the neckline of the breakout levels, which can be seen as an opportunity to reaccumulate the counter. So I expect that any dip towards the zone of 155 to 152 kind of a zone can be seen as a buying opportunity in the counter. On the higher end, again, 180 will be the first target, and if it breaches the zone of 180, then 210 to 215 will be seen as the next immediate target in Lemon Tree. Now, ITC Hotels is also on a very strong secular uptrend, although there is, for the first time, the counter have started formation of lower high. So that might be a concerning factor, although the technical data is very limited, so there is very limited view on this counter. But I expect the zone of 215 should be acting as a very strong support zone. It is having a very strong bullish gap around the zone of 215. So if it reaches the zone of 215, then one can look for buying opportunity. But comparatively, Lemon Tree is looking better.
Okay, fair point. Let's take another question. This one is from one of our other viewers. Venki from Hyderabad writes in, Hi Sakshi, how are you? I'm very well. Venki, hope the same for you. The question is that can I request the experts to share Navratri, happy Navratri stocks for next 4 to 6 months? Which sector or stocks would they advise? Okay, for sure, Venki will in fact ask both our guests to give you their own choice of stocks as Navratri special stocks that they can share with you. Nilesh, starting off with you, a 4 to 6 months kind of a horizon, anything that you'd like to suggest in this Navratri to be held on to for the next 4 to 6 months?
Right, Sakshi. So, couple of picks from my side from different sector. First of all, if you look at metal space as a whole, we have seen a very strong momentum. Nifty Metal Index has given a very strong breakout, and we are bullish on this particular space from next 2 to 3 months kind of time frame. So within this space, specifically from aluminum space, Hindalco is looking attractive, and this particular counter in fact is looking very strong on the chart. From a positional perspective, let's say 4 to 6 months kind of time frame, the stock has a potential to test 850 to 900 kind of levels, and it has a very strong support at 700, so that should be the stop loss. Another stock that we are liking is Poonawalla Fincorp. So a very big rounding bottom formation is shaping up, and the stock has also given a good momentum recently. So we are also bullish on Poonawalla Fincorp for upside target of 520 to 550. So that's a positional target. It has a very good support at 465. That should be the stop loss. And lastly, within banking space, RBL Bank, this particular counter is looking very attractive. It has given a good breakout from a big rounding bottom formation. So looks good at present level, and can be accumulated for a positional target of 320, 350 on the upside. Stop loss should be placed at 255.
Okay, fair point. I hope Venki and all the other viewers who've been watching have taken down the note for the stocks that have been chosen by Nilesh here as Navratri special stocks for all of you on business today. Tossing the same question to you also, Osho. Which are the sectors and stocks would you like to highlight for somebody who's looking to make a portfolio? Doing that Shubh Shuruat in Navratri, like a lot of investors do. They start off with their investment journey in these auspicious days so that they can hope for a profitable journey in investments. What would you advise?
My first pick from a time duration of nearly 4 to 5 months will be Samvardhan Motherson. So this counter has seen a decent traction in the recent period. The counter has emerged above the long-term moving average of 200, the simple moving average. So I expect the momentum to continue in the counter. Technically, it has given a very strong breakout around the zone of 100 to 100 kind of a zone, and again has retested the same level. So I expect the momentum from here onwards to continue on the higher end. So this counter can be seen as a buying opportunity on immediate basis. The first target is visible around the zone of 125, and once it surpasses the zone of 125, then we can see it retesting the zone of 140 to 45 from a medium term point of view. While on the lower end, the zone of 90 is expected to provide very strong support, and that should be kept as a stop loss from a short to medium term point of view. The other counter which is looking positive to me is PNB, Punjab National Bank. This counter has seen a very strong momentum in the last 3 trading months, and from there onwards, we have seen a formation of higher lows, higher highs kind of a pattern. And now it is nearly above the zone of short-term moving averages. So I expect the momentum can be continued in the counter. The first immediate hurdle or target is near about 115. Once it breaches the zone of 115, then we can see the zone of 140 to 145 to get tested from a medium term point of view. So PNB can be bought at current levels. On the lower end, 100 will be a very strong support zone, and that should be kept as a stop.
Okay, got that. Thank you so much, Osho. So there you have it, viewers. You have a lot of stocks to really look at for a well-diversified portfolio that you can start investing in right now, or start constructing at this point in time when it's Navratri and you have the blessings of the divine as well. Let's actually now look at some more questions that are trickling in from our viewers list. Okay, we have the next question from our YouTube viewer, Naresh Kumar. Nilesh, this one is from you. On NHPC, the question is that I'm holding it at 100 odd levels. What should I be doing? I'm a long-term investor on NHPC.
Say if you are a longer term investor, then you can stay put with your long position because the stock has already seen a decent correction from the highs. It has a very strong support at 78 level. Multiple support base, I would say, can be seen at 78 to 79 zone. So that should be your stop loss. And on the upside, if it breaks the level of 90, that will be a major breakout. It will be considered as a major breakout. Then probably you can expect a move towards 100 to 105. So you can add on to your position if it breaks above 90. At present, you can continue with your long position, keeping a stop loss below 78.
Okay, got that. Let's actually look at some more questions that are coming in. Okay, we have this next question from one of our other viewers who's joining in as well. This one is from Umesh. Okay, PG Electroplast is your question. We've already discussed that. Umesh, can you please go back to the suggestion that's been given on the same program with our guests so that you can at least reap the benefit of that question? Taking the next one then, we have this question also coming in from one of our viewers on our WhatsApp. This one is from Lavisha from Punjab, wants to know about IOL Chemicals. Osho, can you take that up? Wants to know about this stock since she has this stock in her portfolio at 117, IOL Chemicals.
IOL Chemicals have seen a very strong rally in the recent period, especially after the breakout from the zone of nearly 100, and it has gone towards the zone of 120. But in the last 3 trading sessions, the counter is again retesting the breakout levels. Although technically it is a good sign, and one can look for buying opportunity in the counter. On the lower end, I expect a very strong support, which is visible around the zone of 90 to 95, should be cushioning the counter on the lower end, and that could be seen as a buying opportunity once again for the counter. On the higher end, 120, 125 will be seen as the first target. If it breaches the zone of 125, then we can see some kind of further continuation. But in the short term perspective, 95 to 125 is the zone where the counter is likely to hover in between.
All right, viewers. Well, viewers, we only had that much time on the show today. Many thanks, Osho, and many thanks, Nilesh, for being with us on the program and highlighting for all our viewers their key strategies on the stock queries that they are advised, and of course for sharing with them the Navratri stock portfolio as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sakshi.
All right, viewers, we'll wrap it up on that note. 19 points lower on the Nifty, 24,635 right now. So we have slipped a tad bit lower. Let's see how things pan out in the last 2.5 hours of trade. Remember, tomorrow will be the weekly expiry of the October series for the NSE.